What is the goal of trying to become a millionaire or billionaire in today's society? Because there's obviously a certain impetus for this, considering there's this exponential wealth gap where there's this like little tiny minority of people who are holding nearly half the wealth in the United States. So for most people, the ideal is something along the lines of never working another day in their life, living close to the beach, living in a house large enough to accommodate dozens of people, and having that all for yourself. It's a very sort of individualistic, I don't need anyone, I don't want to do anything sort of ideal that is trying to be achieved. Though this idea is kind of very strongly ingrained in our culture of trying to climb the economic ladder, the end goal does not seem to be any sort of fulfillment outside of a very materialistic, very limited point of view, thinking that, I have this large house, all these cars. Thing is, no matter how big your house is, you can only be in one room at a time. No matter how fast, no matter how shiny or efficient your car is, you still have to, obey the laws of traffic and be mindful of other people driving. There's sort of a diminishing return here, then, on the amount of satisfaction one can derive from simply the acquisition of money and resources. When people think of the happier moments of their life, it really does not seem to have much of anything to do with how big their house is. Things like that can sort of add to an experience, but unless you actually bring in other people, unless you actually have something to use all of these expensive items for, then you're not going to derive any satisfaction outside of this novelty burst of purchasing something new, this sort of addictive necessity of wanting to use your money just to use it, or have the money just to have it. So while everyone seems to talk about not having enough money, no one really seems to talk about being satisfied with wherever you are economically. A lot of people are in bad economic situation, and a lot of people are, or very few people rather, are in this upper echelon of the economy. And instead of thinking about how much money can I gain, how much of a large house can I have, the actual ideal, is thinking, how much money do I need in order to do whatever it is I'm passionate about, whatever it is that really makes me want to be having this house and having this car and this life and so on. And that varies, of course, for every individual. So there shouldn't be this sort of carrot on a stick mentality. Everyone's, totally out for themselves. Because you can't be totally out for yourself. Your happiness is totally dependent on all the other people in society. So I think we need to not only examine our sort of economic way of allowing individuals to reach this level, but also the sort of desire within ourselves? And is this an authentic desire, or is this just something that is sort of made up, a construct that is created by the society because that is sort of how it is allowed to continue functioning? If people don't really want a lot of things, if the desire for things is limited, then we don't get this exchange of commerce that allows for everyone to have a job, or as many people as possible to have a job. The society is completely dependent on this idea that everyone is trying to climb and achieve some sort of higher economic standard for themselves.